the countryside office. Apparently that's what it's called. Oh no, I hope I don't get in trouble for being out here. I don't know, we'll see. And the just did like a loop around. Oh, I guess you can't really see it. I think it's like the garbage, maybe, or recycling. The driver, he like looked at me. Oh yeah, no, he's just going to one of the cabins to, I guess, pick up garbage. Interesting. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I had to, once I get there, I have to go to the, that's an interesting bird sound, the countryside office, and she said I could I could buy like tickets for either like a bus or a train to Bega. So I found this office, and the lady told me that today, or I guess this was yesterday. Yesterday, it happened to be all booked.
Bruh.
Like fully booked, and she said like, you know, that almost never happens. But of course, you know, it had to happen that day. And so she was like, oh, do you want it for tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, like I'll take the earliest one tomorrow, because I'm like, you know, it is what it is if I can't arrive today. And so it was scheduled for, I think, like 1:30 p.m. for the next day. And I was thinking to myself, like, technically I was supposed to get to Bega like at night so that I can rest and then wake up in the morning.
Waking up in the morning, thinking about so many things. I just wish things would get better.
And then play squash and, you know, like kind of like get adjusted to this place. And so the ticket was $140 something, like Aussie dollars. And I think the conversion rate, I think it's almost like one Canadian dollar to one Aussie dollar. I think it's like pretty similar. And I think maybe the Aussie dollar might be slightly stronger. Not exactly sure. I was like, okay, like that's fine. That expense is fine. I have to get there anyways. And I was thinking I would have to find a place to stay for the night in Sydney. A last minute place to stay in Sydney. Cause yeah, I was supposed to be here. But anyways, but for some reason my card, both of my bank cards would not go through. So I wasn't actually able to pay for it, and the lady was like, well, I booked your ticket. You have until tomorrow morning to pay it. You can come back later today if you want and pay in cash. So like go find like an ATM. So then I was like, oh, okay. So I said thank you, and then I left the like train station and went to go find an ATM. And I also had to go find a phone adapter too, because in the plane there is no charging port anywhere. So for USB and for like, I don't know, the actual like blocks. So my phone had been dead already for the whole since 12 a.m. or like since we took off, it was already dead. So my phone's, you know, still dead, and I would have to find a way to find a hotel. So I walk around Sydney. I eventually find an electronics store. There's actually like, I feel like I passed a couple, maybe 2 universities at least in Sydney. And I found an electronics store, bought a block, like an adapter, and I asked one of the staff members who looked like around my age if there's any free Wi-Fi anywhere, because I couldn't find, like I was using my laptop and I couldn't find Wi-Fi anywhere, which was really annoying, because I can't like look anything up whatsoever. And he directed me to a Starbucks. I went to the Starbucks, I put in the password multiple times. It did not work. At least I stayed long enough to charge my phone until it was like 40%. At that time, I think it was about 1:30 in the afternoon. Also, mind you, I hadn't like eaten anything that day yet, and I was too, I guess, stressed out that, oh no, I had a few snacks. The snacks that I got when I was in Malaysia, it was just these 2 like pea packets. So it wasn't very much. And I had some water because I like refilled it when I was at the airport.
Am I better than everyone?
So I was too stressed out to think about eating, and when I was at the Starbucks, I literally just went to the nearest outlet so that I can charge my phone. And yeah, the Wi-Fi didn't connect. And so obviously I was annoyed because it wasn't connecting, and I like using the password wasn't connecting, and I decided to just kind of like de-stress by writing in like my little journal. I journaled long enough until my phone was ready to go, and then oh yeah, I had already found like an ATM at this point. That's how I bought the adapter. And then I was thinking to myself, you know what, like I either spend $140 something for this train ticket and then another probably $100 for a night in Sydney and at a hotel, or I can see how much it is to fly to Bega as like a last minute trip. So, you know, because I have nothing else to do, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the airport. I went back to the airport and then went to domestic, went to the nearest like it was like an airline information desk, and it was like Virgin Airlines or Virgin Australia, that's the airline. They're like, oh, we don't actually have any flights that go out there, and they're like, you can try Rex, which is a different one. So Rex, they didn't have a desk. They just had like their usual like economy like check-in sort of thing where you check in your bags. So I like waited in line and then spoke to the staff member. He was really helpful. He was really nice. I really liked him, and because I told him my situation, I was like, yeah, like I can't connect to the airport Wi-Fi, it's not working, and there's no Wi-Fi anywhere else, so I can't actually check myself. And he was like, yeah, don't worry, I got you. So he was like, oh, there's a flight in 4 hours time that you can get, and it'll be $200, or it was slightly less than $200, but basically $200. And I was like, you know what, I'll just take that since I was supposed to arrive at night anyways. So that's what I did. You know, he was like, oh, like last minute trip, and I was like, yeah, well, he was like, you got family and friends, and I'm like, yeah, I do, I guess. I don't know, there's just some bird up there. Anyways, so I got this last minute ticket, and then I checked in and I was in the airport and I found kind of like a quiet spot. Luckily, I found like a quieter spot in the hotel area next to my gate, and I just like pretty much passed out. Oh, I was charging my phone the whole time, but I pretty much just like passed out because I was just so tired. And at this point it was like 2:30, I think, in the afternoon. I think it's the same species of bird. Not sure though. Yeah. I passed out. Probably the people around me were kind of like, what happened to her? I feel like I looked really rough, but I felt really rough, that's for sure. Luckily, I had a cup noodle, not the cup noodle itself, but like the instant noodle. So I had it in a bag. So what I did was I broke that up into pieces and, you know, in the bag, and then put like the like little spice packet with the like powdered spice packet into it, and then like shook it up, and then like had that. So that was my dinner. So yummy. That was like the first time since the morning of, even the morning in Malaysia, like I had to go do my laundry, you know, at 8 a.m. in the morning. So felt like, you know, and I was just having a long day. And it was nice to just be alone for once. I mean, I was alone when I was in Sydney, but you know, I had things to do. So yeah, it was a bit of like downtime. And then finally my flight came in, and then I went on the plane. The plane was super cute. There's only 10 rows, and you know, like 3 seats across, like 1 and then 1, 2. And yeah, so I was on the one side. And so the plane, like, it flew into this like little small place. It was a 30-minute flight. And more than half the plane of the people like got off, and we stayed on the plane, and then it took off again to Marimbula. That's the name of this place. And I slept basically the whole time. I was just so tired. It was also, so the flight was at like 6:30 at night or something. So by the time we were actually taking off, because it's winter here, it was already dark. So I couldn't actually like see anything. It was completely dark outside. Otherwise I'd be looking out the window the whole time, especially if it's a small plane. Like, I'd be able to see everything and see the landscape and everything. But yeah, I just couldn't see anything, so I just slept. It was raining a bit too. And then